client had an interesting conversation with me that I'm doing a project in Kanpur. And they said that I have a friend in Nagpur who's been able to fit more stuff into this same plot of land that you are doing for me. We think that, we are going to have this romantic theory on each side, and this is going to create this great experience. All the vendors will work happily with each other, and all the contractors will say, great, we have finished this project 3 months before schedule, and the client will say you are 9% below quotation price, and I'm going to get you 15 more projects. But unfortunately, that's not the way. We as architects fear numbers. At least I, as an architect, used to fear numbers. I used to be afraid. I used to say, my God, these numbers, I can't understand them. How to make a quotation? How to make a BOQ? How to make a tender document? What if it doesn't work? How do I look forward 5 times and see what all work is going to go into doing this and coming to an end price of that? I have learned that our business is it's a complicated business. It's about being a super scientist. It's being a superhero. It's about being lots of things in life. So that's one of my first equations. The client expects the architect to be Superman and Spider-Man and a samurai. So he expects you to, your client expects you to know things which you should not be knowing, but they assume you should. For example, why your air conditioning is not working at 2 in the morning, you should be knowing. Why your plumbing is not working properly, you should be the plumber. Why did your assistant not climb on the 4th floor to check if there was a water connection there or not? So you were supposed to be Spider-Man too. You're supposed to be the samurai because you're supposed to be great at cutting other people's bills for the client. And so the client doesn't have to do that job himself and not blame other people. But to the client, you are a vendor. You are always the vendor. So whenever all of us think that this client is my friend, I don't think they think like that. So they think you are just a better dressed carpenter or plumber or RCC person. So we are not, we think of ourselves to be evolved people, but when we think from the client's perspective, we were doing so much for and trying to be doing great kind of work for, they yet think that, end mein kya hai ye? Plumber hai. So that is who we are. The next slide goes to project requirements. So in our business, 2 plus 2 is almost never equal to 4. So the client had an interesting conversation with me that I'm doing a project in Kanpur. And they said that I have a friend in Nagpur who's been able to fit more stuff into this same plot of land that you are doing for me. So for some reason, they think that the same plot of land in a state which is 2,000 kilometers away should be able to have the same amount of space that I should be able to put. It's not logical, but no. I have clients who come to me and say that, that my air conditioning is not as cool as my neighbor's apartment on the 4th floor. They are 18 degrees and you are 22, and you used Mitsubishi and they've used Daikin and yet it's cooler and there's a cheaper brand. So the reason why I'm saying all this is because, in our business, not everything fits the same size. We are constantly evolving every year. I've been in practice for 17, 18 years. I've realized that it might be the same space, but you're doing it for another person. It's not the same cut and paste. Everybody tries to think it could be cut and paste. The client perspective thinks it's a cut and paste, but we know how difficult it is to make things. Nothing can be done the same place again, in fact, with the same space. I had a client who interestingly told me one day, आपको क्या करना है? आपको drawing तो डालना है कंप्यूटर में और कंप्यूटर आपको drawing दे देगा, क्या option दे देगा? So that's, but unfortunately that's the way it goes. But we have to keep on understanding how to try to make things as intuitive, as detailed, as proper. Like I see Shantanu's work, every space has a detail, has a space, has a thing, has a story to say, which is fantastic. Sorry, what do you say about clients? We should all get better clients, right? The architect's viewpoint of the world. I realize what we think of the world. We think the world is beautiful. We think the world is hunky-dory and there are birds flying and, birds making nice sounds. So it basically goes to this Euler spine ring equation, which is supposed to be the most beautiful equation ever made. So it is part physics, part math. They have postage stamps for that. It's in The Simpsons and things like that. And whenever we get a new project, we are rejuvenated, thinking this is going to be another masterpiece. We are going to really make this well, and whatever mistakes happened in the past will not happen. The client was an asshole last time. This client will be an angel. He's going to understand me. He's going to understand my soul. He's going to understand the effort I've put into this. That detailing which I've done for the air conditioning not to be shown. He will truly appreciate it. But unfortunately, it's not like that. But we also have such romanticism in ourselves that besides an equation, we also Yash Chopra. We think that, we are going to have this romantic theory on each side, and, this is going to create this great experience. All the vendors will work happily with each other, and all the contractors will say, great, we have finished this project 3 months before schedule, and the client will say, you are 9% below quotation price, and, I'm going to get you 15 more projects. But unfortunately, that's not the way. So I've learned that you have to continue, keep on striving, understanding how to do this work, understanding that what you do is a business. It is just a business, but it's also about design, but it's a business. So because the guy who's come to you, none of your clients who've come to you, none of the vendors have come to you for an experience yet, but they have come to you for the money, they've come to you for the math, they've come to you for the price. And you are as good. Your design has to have different buckets. It has to have a bucket of design. It has to have a bucket of functionality. It should have a bucket of aesthetics. But it also have a very big bucket of cost. Because without cost, I've realized that whatever you do for the client, but no client's going to say, "Arey, tune mera itna acha ghar banaya," but you are 35% over budget. So he's always going to talk about the 3% over budget, not 35% over budget, but not going to talk about the business. I'm talking about most clients. I have also some very great clients, but we also have not some very great clients. I am going to now, I have 3 minutes left, and I have 7 minutes from Shantanu's extended presentation. This is our understanding of the architect industry, of math. We consider ourselves to be artists. So I have one picture I said in my presentation. That was my picture. And it's better than this picture that I have here. If we want to be better at our work, we need to understand the grassroots of where we are. For example, let us say a simple thing like air conditioning. We need to understand if the air conditioning guy is telling you that this much tonnage is required or this is there. You should have a basic understanding of it. Because at the end of the day, we are Spider-Man and Superman. The client expects us to know things when we were not right. Because the consultant doesn't exist for them. It's the architect who exists for us. The same thing will go for a design from a landscape person. It will go from design from a RCC consultant. We need to know more basics. We spend so much of our time on Instagram and aesthetics and nicely pictured pictures, posted pictures where we don't really get into the root. Our root is that we need to know our technicalities. We need to know our details. We need to know our understanding of numbers. Architecture has a lot to do with numbers. The same thing goes with understanding how a project works. How do you make a costing? How do you make a BOQ? We've learned and we've suffered tremendously where we have waited for payments for 5 months because the projects were overscheduled. The client had no problem with the work. The problem that they had was with the money, and the money that they spent, we had to beg, grovel, ask for money. We as architects fear numbers. At least I, as an architect, used to fear numbers. I used to be afraid. I used to say, my God, these numbers, I can't understand them. How do you make a quotation? How to make a BOQ? How to make a tender document? What if it doesn't work? How do I look forward 5 times and see what all work is going to go into doing this and coming to an end price of that? Because end of the day, it's a number. I've also learned that just being an architect, I don't make enough money. So either you have to be like Rajiv, the Gyandu, and do a furniture factory, or be like Shantanu and do a great projects and also have a good product line, or simply do turnkey work like how I do that. Or because just being an architect by itself or being a designer by itself, there's not enough money to be made in today's scenario because there's always a person undercutting it. If you tell the client that your service for a room is worth 1 lakh rupees, they might not agree, but they say, 1 lakh rupees ka iPhone kharid lunga because they can touch it and they can feel it. Because what we are giving is an intangible thing which we can't touch, we can't feel. We need to be evolving more with the times. And that's what I learned is that every day is a learning process for us because the world around us is changing really fast. And if I don't change and we don't change every day with it, we are going to be left further behind than all other businesses that have left us behind in this industry. So thank you.